We all have that one task. You know the one I'm talking about. Maybe it's a CSV with bad formatting, maybe a projection that won't align, or that Python error that makes absolutely no sense. These are the workflow crashes, and they are going to stop you dead in your tracks. But I have a solution for you. These are the exact problems that AI is best at solving. So today I'm going to show you 5 of the most common choke points in a geospatial workflow and give you the exact AI prompts to fix them instantly. So number 1 is the dirty data cleaner. You have probably come across it. I have plenty of times where you're going to spend hours kind of manually fixing addresses or coordinate formats or anything like that. Now, if you've ever done this before, maybe you've written a Python script, or maybe you've actually written regex from scratch, you know that this is really painful. I have dealt with this personally with addresses and very weird polyline strings before, of all things. It stinks. Now, the good news is AI is very good at fixing this. Why is that the case? Now, without going too deep, AI are language models. They understand text. If you have text, it can go through and fix that really well. It's what the model itself is built to do. You can take a sample of that messy data, go over to an LLM and ask it for a standardization script, or actually have it do that yourself, right? It may be able to write the regex pattern for you. It maybe actually let you dump the entire file in if it's compatible, and actually go through and do that. Now, especially some of these agentic tools, things I'm talking about here are things like OpenClaw, if you've tried that out before, or things like Claude Work can actually do this for you. They'll actually go through, they can search, they can look through documentation, then they can actually build out the workflow for you. Now, a really common case of this is maybe there's something missing in a latitude, longitude. Maybe some of them have cut off at a certain digit. Maybe some of them include westings and northings and some of those letters in there. Maybe some of them pull in as strings and numbers and different things like that. Addresses are another very common one like this. You want to standardize things like ST. Should that be Saint or Street? This is an LLM problem, and you can actually handle it there. This is a very common workflow, and one thing that you shouldn't spend a lot of time on. Let the AI handle it for you. Number 2 is the documentation black hole, right? You want to use a cool new library, but the documentation is tricky, you're having trouble reading it, and you don't want to spend a whole day just trying to go through that and figure it out, right? Maybe you're trying to visualize a hexagon layer in a new toolkit. Maybe that's PyDeck and Streamlit, something like that. Or maybe you want to generate some script to make a 3D hex layer, whatever that is, right? This is where AI is also really good. Again, it's a language model. If you give it text, it can infer and review that in really clear ways. Now, you can't just trust the LLM out of the box to do that. It is trained at specific points in time. It may or it may not have benchmarked that toolkit. So a few different things you can do. You can provide the link to that documentation, or if you've narrowed it in, provide the text to that documentation as well. Pull that down. There's a few different tools online you can use to turn a website into text. Paste that in. Then you should prompt the AI to act as your senior developer, right? Go through the docs, describe the outcome, build me a boilerplate to do that, and help me get some code to actually do that. Use it as a starting block so you can skip some of the setup and all the time going through the documentation and get there a lot faster. It may actually also have something in the model that helps you with something else along the way. Pro tip here is telling it how to act. Giving it that prompt to act as a senior developer is a really good way to help it focus on what it needs to do the most. Number 3 is an error output. I'm going to use the example of a GDAL error. Sometimes these are really tricky for me to read. I don't know what it's asking me. Maybe it's telling me I need to install something and I didn't. It's as an import error, whatever that is. I'm having a lot of struggle looking through that output, and I don't know what I should really be looking at. Now, you can Google that error code. You might have the wrong part of it. Maybe it's super long and you don't know exactly what it is. You just want to take that whole error log and go into AI and ask it what it should do. Ask it for an environment solution, right? Maybe it's an environmental issue, maybe it's a data issue, and it will actually help you narrow down what the problem is, right? A few tips here: ask it to resolve the environment issue, ask it if it's a error, ask if it's a programming piece, maybe it's an issue with the data or a network. Have it narrow down that problem and then tell you how to resolve it, right? Is it an environmental issue? Do you need to install something? How would you actually get around and solve that? I also recommend starting a new chat for these if it's like coming from a fresh thing. And if you go too deep in a chat, sometimes it might try to take you in a lot of different directions. The key is to ask it to do this repetitively in different ways. You should also look at the error, and if you know something about where it is or you have a clue about it, use step 2 to bring some documentation in, and again, ask it to ask as like a senior developer to resolve that issue and figure out what's going on. Now, look, these prompts can help you save time and get through different things. This is actually something we embrace in the spatial lab. We really focus on using AI as a force accelerator, but more importantly, learning the core of what you need. There's a few things that can solve 80% of the problems that you're working on and can help you scale and build that. Architecture is something that AI can't solve yet. You need to know how to build and what to build it to put it together. And that's actually something that we do all the time in the spatial lab. We focus on understanding the core of the systems that you need to build, as well as the languages and tools that you need to put in place. Plus, there's a large supportive community to help you do that, tools to help you build portfolio projects, and lots of different things. So if you're interested in that, I put a link in the comments for you to check that out. There's 4 different tracks depending on where you are starting from right now. But now let's tackle the scariest one of all, which for me is projections. Now, projections can be a pain in the neck. You've built an entire workflow that should be working, but you have a upstream projection mismatch between the 2 data sets. Maybe your raster's in one format. It's really hard to reproject rasters. You have the geodata frame in another one, and you haven't done the proper steps to check and validate that those are in the same projection. I do this no matter if it's in QGIS or in a Sedona data frame or in GeoPandas. I do this all the time, and I forget to handle that, right? Even before this, you can ask the AI to write a script to align and centralize and handle all the projection issues safely. So this is a quick, easy thing you can put in, and I love using AI to do this. So it shouldn't just look up the EPSG code. You should ask the AI to write a safety checked script, right? You should actually go in and say, check if the CRSs match. If not, reproject the vector to match the raster. Whatever that is that you know you need to do, let that handle it. This is pretty uncomplicated code, but an easy fix that's going to make your code more robust and easy to run and all these different things. So this is something I highly recommend doing from that side. Now, one extra one I want to talk about is conversion, right? You probably have downloaded data in lots of different formats before. I know I have. Now, if you're still using QGIS to open the data, export it as save as, you can actually download GDAL on your machine and have the AI write you a command to do that. Maybe that's converting raster from one format to another. Maybe that's using ogre to ogre to convert these different vector formats from one to another. This is easy. This is like asking it to ask that one-off conversion. You need to convert 50 files. You're going to loop over it. Tell it where it is. Ask it for a bash script using GDAL. Even if you don't know the bash, the AI does. You can copy and paste it, and it can help you install GDAL no matter what your operating system is, right? This is like one of the easiest things you can put in place just to speed things up. It's the power of command line unlocked by AI. Very easy one to go ahead and get started with. Now, to be clear, the goal of AI isn't to replace you. It's to replace the work like this, the heavy manual work, so you can focus on things like architecture and things like analytics, right? If you implement any of these 5 fixes, you can save a lot of time depending on the work that you're doing. Now, if you want to learn about how you can use AI in your workflows, check out the Spatial Lab. We're doing a lot of that work in there on a regular basis. And I'd love to hear how you're using AI in your workflow today, specifically with spatial workflows. I'll do some videos on how I'm using AI generally in lots of different ways in the future, but I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.